Let's move on to Chevy.
Okay.
So again, this is it wasn't for wasn't the basis of we were contemplating going down the Chevy route because as we noted in previous videos, we were never a big fan of their interiors, and even their exterior designs were questionable, especially when it comes to the Spark.
But they were there.
But they were there,
and they had the big display.
Yeah.
Their Chevy Bolt.
They had the Bolt
EV.
EV and EUV.
EV.
So that was nice. And again, for us, part of the going to the show was not just to look at what we were interested in, and at one point I had already pre-ordered, but just to build our knowledge in general. And so we wanted to check out as many EVs as possible because we want that reference, because it's not just for us, but if we can help other people make a decision as to which EV vehicle is best for them or better for them, we're glad to share our voice. And if it helps them, fantastic. Whether they end up pursuing it or not, that's fantastic too. We just want to help everyone as much as possible get into EVs. So the Chevy rep, and I don't recall her name offhand, she was also really good.
Yeah.
Really knowledgeable. Although I think she ultimately had the pricing mismatch between the two, but she was fantastic. And truth be told, those are they're nice looking little cars.
They're very
they're narrow.
Narrow, yeah, and even in between the two seats, they're narrow,
It's
which I
very narrow.
guess is to give the seats more room.
Yeah.
I did share some of my original concerns that I had from the Spark and the Volt, and she said that was one of the updates that they had made, especially was to the interior, to make it more appealing to the public and on some of the concerns people had raised in the past.
Yeah, so the interior itself, it had a very premium feel to it, the ones they had on display. So while they may not have been the base trim, at least they were capable of delivering that higher quality interior that some people look for, including us. Yeah, again, these are not vehicles that we would pick, but man, we have no problem recommending these vehicles to other people.
I will say the back seat was not the most comfortable. The underneath your legs, it was kind of raised in the back, and so it to me it didn't feel comfortable. I mean, other people might appreciate
and that's the
that.
downside with smaller
Sure,
cars. You're
sure.
going to have those limitations. But I appreciate Chevy continuing to move in the right direction from an EV perspective, and really, in some sense, I mean, they're really trying to own a segment of the market. And I think they're probably competing against the Nissan Leafs of the world, and
Sure.
to an extent even the BMW i3. But fantastic, inexpensive options. The one thing they were mentioning for the EUV one was, and again, I don't know if she had it mixed up with the EV, but they were talking about what they did is because their cars no longer qualify for the federal rebate, they reduced the price of one of the models by close to that amount.
Yeah.
So that way they're the ones that are essentially absorbing the rebate, and that way the customer can still get a similar inexpensive entry price. So I thought that was a very good move by Chevy. And again, back in even the Volt days, I was happy that Chevy was going into EV and even at that point taking a loss. So I appreciated what they were trying to do, and I appreciate what they're still trying to do, and we liked it.
We didn't do the test drive while we were at the show. We could have. And then my sister got a call the other day regarding a test drive at a local dealership down in Dallas. They said, oh, come in and test drive the EUV, and we'll give you a $50 Amazon gift card. And we're like, yeah, let's bring the whole family. Everybody go get a card. And then later that day, they announced the recall of them. And so we decided to hold off for now. But it is still something that we would like to at least go and drive just to have that experience.
And again, and we're not turned off by the battery fires. I think that just that's something that all the manufacturers are aware of, and they're taking all the precautions they can to avoid them. I from a rarity perspective, it's still rare. There's some Tesla battery fires. There's a big hoopla over it, but it's just so rare. So that'll get under control. And ICE cars, internal combustion engine cars, they catch fire too. I had an old Ford GT that had an ignition fire. So you know what? All cars are prone to that sort of thing. So I'm not detracted by that. And I hope the market isn't as well.
I hope not. Yeah.
The cool thing that we did was with one of the accessories that the Chevy had, which was they had a kind of a hybrid of a regular wall plug, but it had an adapter to allow it to charge at a much higher rate, not as fast as if you had like a level 2 home charger, like a 40 amp or anything higher like that, but it was still much more, it was much faster than the regular, 12 amp. So I forget the specifics. If I can dig up the picture, because we did take a picture of it,
yeah.
I will try to splice it into the video. Pardon my Adobe Premiere skills. They're not good at all. But we'll try to do that because I thought that was a very good innovation that they're bringing to the table. I think, especially when you're traveling and if, heaven forbid something happens with, Electrify America or whomever you're using to charge and you're short of options, as long as you can reach a wall plug and this can draw a higher amp and do whatever to charge faster than it regularly would, that's a win in my books.
Sure.
So I definitely appreciate them taking some innovation from that perspective as well.